Can you guys hear my heartbeat through my chest right now, or is that just me? How's everybody doing? What if I told you at this moment, this very precious present moment, that I'm more nervous, have more anxiety, and more fear than I've ever had in my entire life? But by stepping through the veil of the unknown, by facing my fears, I am actually creating new neural pathways to my brain. I'm evolving in front of you in real time. After this speech, I will not be the same person as I was before. See, it's not about the culture of the grind. Doing hard things is very important, and I'll talk about that later. But it's truly about stepping into the face of your fears. Facing the same fears you did as a child of the monsters lurking under your bed. When those fears are left unchecked, unprovoked, untested, they grow and metastasize like a cancer in your life. What are you actively doing to face your fears and come out on the other side of your trauma? In my profession, we realize that progressive overload is the key to long-term athletic development. Progressive overload is inducing or enduring a greater amount of stress over a period of time to increase overall work capacity. Why wouldn't structuring a routine around my life that I can progressively overload and never adapt be any different? We live in a world of constant adaptation and algorithms. Your algorithm led you here, unless you're my family or friends, hello. You crave more out of life. You seek it. But the problem is we leave our algorithm up to the people that we doom scroll on social media with. Your personal algorithm is the most important asset in your arsenal to spark a change. But to create a change, we need two things. We need stress, we need stimulus, or SSA, stress, stimulus, adaptation. For example, a stress could be driving in traffic on the way home. That is an external stress. A stimulus could be a podcast that you listen to, positive or negative. Over a period of time, that stress plus a stimulus creates a negative or positive outcome. Or on the other end, in my arena, in my field, if someone comes to me with an ACL tear, to fix the ACL, the stress and the stimulus has to be greater than the initial injury itself. If I'm speaking about trauma, if you go through something tough in your life, the stress and stimulus to fix the trauma or the traumatic event in your life has to be greater than the initial trauma. That takes a serious amount of work. This is why I'm here, to give you the blueprint on how to progressively overload your life to spark a change. Because as we know, we are the sum of what we repeatedly do. Let me paint a picture for you. In 2011, I was the number 9 quarterback in the country, one of the top 300 prospects overall. While others were trying to figure out what they were going to do with their night, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. See, my mom always told me God had something great planned for me. I believed her. But on the duality side of that, I was on an independent education plan. I was being bullied very badly, not physically, as you can tell. Hopefully I look like I'm in good shape. But I had a very bad stutter, dyslexic, ADHD, cognitive disorders. You could list them out longer than the alphabet. I was also in a makeshift trailer behind the school because I wasn't allowed with the classroom with the other kids. I had severe learning disabilities. I had to be put in a different location to not disrupt the class. If I was in the class, I promise I was facing the chalkboard. There's a reason I have this iPad. I was chosen in spelling bees by classmates when they knew I was not going to do well. I was terrified. There's a reason I have this right now, because I am not afraid to take a step forward and be successful with the routine that I need. I understand my needs, I understand my wants. Fast forward, I did play college football. I played at the University of Cincinnati, go Bearcats. I also played at Indiana State University. Fast forward, 6 concussions, a knee surgery, a lot of off-the-field issues, self-harm, self-inflicted, some not. My football career was over. Like a lot of you students, you had no identity when you're done with being a student. What do you do? Where do you start? I was truly at rock bottom. So I had to actually Google what made people happy. That's how low I was with no identity. What always came back to is that people that chase their passions and add value where they're passionate are happy. That was confusing to me because the only thing I had in my life was a ball. When that ball was taken from me, I was truly done. I had nothing. So where do I start? Where do you start when you have something that you want to do? I started with a TED Talk. It's why this is such a transformative, amazing experience for me to do. I also started with something called The Secret. It's now available on Netflix. Back in the day, it was just on YouTube. Basically stating the law of attraction manifestation is a real thing. Positive thoughts bring positive outcomes. Negative thoughts bring negative outcomes, which also means that I couldn't blame everyone for where I was at in my life. I had to take grasp and understanding in the severity of my actions. This is where I started to realize that I could not fly by the seat of my pants anymore, because life does not unfold to you, it unfolds for you. This is where I created my routine, my daily strict routine, that if I fall off, it's not a good day. But I realized at that point that the bottom was not bedrock. The bottom of my life was actually a trampoline or a catalyst to get me to where I'm in front of you today. The next part is where I break my day into 3 different stages. This is where progressive overload comes into play. This is where you work out of your traumas. This is when you realize at the start of every day you have an equal amount of potential as every person in this room. The score is 0. When I wake up in the morning, this is when I pray. This is when I thank God for waking up. This is when I work on my gratitudes, but I realize that gratitude is not the purest vibrational frequency, it's actually authenticity. So being authentic while being grateful is that much more important. This is when I work on my affirmations. I am abundance. I have enough energy to complete the task at hand. Residual income is flowing to me like an avalanche. I am actually realizing who I want to be. This is when I read the Daily Stoic. Stoicism is a basic philosophy that says anything outside of your reasoned choice isn't up to you. For example, Bruce Lee, I hope everyone knows who Bruce Lee is in here. In a movie, there's a scene where he's sitting between 2 walls that are closing in on him. He doesn't fight, he doesn't panic, he doesn't run. He sits down and controls his breath because he realizes the only thing that's tangible that he can actually control at that time. At the same time as I'm writing down my gratitudes, I'm writing down what I want to do with my day, I also have to realize at the same time the duality of it is, who do I not want to be anymore? If you know me in this room, you know that I am an anxious, type A, go-get-it kind of person every day I wake up. When my 10 toes hit the ground in the morning, the devil better be pissed off because I got good things to do. But in the same breath, who do I not want to be anymore? I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to doubt myself anymore. But if you're not having those real conversations with yourself, are you being authentic or not? I also want to realize my samsara beliefs. It's a Sanskrit word, repetitive actions. If you do not address the problems in your life, they will come back and smack you in the back of the head every single day. What are the reoccurring issues in my life that I haven't addressed? Be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself. And also, start to write out and read out your reality every single day as if it was true. Because what teachers say, we never overthink positive outcomes, we only overthink negative outcomes. That is a simple mindset shift. The next part of my day is my working set. This is when the real work is starting to be done. And we realize that society has built in the middle of the day a break. What are you doing when society or your job or your employer gives you time to yourself? Are you sitting and eating? Are you doom scrolling? This is when you're given a freedom. You're given an opportunity to take care of yourself. Meditation is not just sitting on your butt and breathing. I do that, but meditation is a conscious effort to be a better human being. Meditation doesn't look like sitting with your legs crossed. That's a form of it, but we can meditate. I also realize this is when the mundane monotony of the day sets in. The day's here. My motivation is probably lacking. So this is when I get into physical activity, plunging, grounding. It could be walking. I like to lift weights, so I lift weights. This is where I give stress to my day. This is where we face our fears. Because we do not rise to the occasion we fall to the level of our training. I have to reiterate that every day in my life and give myself stress in the middle of my day. My last part is my post-workout or my stretch, my cool down at night. This is when I scan my day. Again, authentic. How was I today? Was I good? Was I bad? Where can I strive for more? Where was I lacking? This is where I also check that I do everything I needed to do in a playful spirit. Alan Watts says we cannot draw a line between play and work. It's a waste of life. If the score is truly 0, did you have fun doing what you're put on this earth to do, which is to live, not to merely exist? Because Stoics say to trust life or to trust nature. Trusting life and trusting nature is important because everyone in this room, every single one of you, at one point thought your life was doomed. It's over, it's done, check it in. You're still here, right? You're still standing, or sitting, sorry. You're still in front of me. So realizing if you have the ability at the end of the day to trust your God, to trust life, to trust nature, everything's gonna be okay. You have to have that on a daily occurrence. Because we realize peace is always waiting for us with open arms, just like a routine. Peace is not something like this rug that I can grab. It's something that you can feel. You have to accept it and embrace it with open arms. You cannot buy it. It is not tangible. Just like our routine, because we can slip in life, but we cannot slide. You can always fall back into your routine like you can fall back into peace. I believe it is essential to have daily confrontation with fear. It's a rule I adhere to unwaveringly. You are seeing mine right now. I'm a 2.0 graduate, a dropout who is terrified to speak, who stuttered and couldn't read, and I'm speaking in front of you. I am terrified to do this right now, and everyone who knows me and I've talked to reassures me, but I'm terrified right now. I'm facing my fear because I realize at the same time, fear is not real. Fear is based off of post-traumatic events or an anxiety-ridden future. It is created. It is not the present moment. Because when subjected to fear, our hormones don't lie to us. When I'm in front of you guys, I have adrenaline and cortisol pumping through my body right now. But after this speech, I will have nothing but oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin. My hormones don't lie to me. What's in my blood doesn't lie to me. That is reality. I have the same choices with all of you of every single time that I'm faced with fear. I can fold or I can fight. I have 2 examples, my wonderful wife Cassidy and my best friend and business partner Javon. In the heart of COVID of 2020, I lost over 200 clients and was left with 20. I was tasked with taking on an 11,000 square foot building that's a 6-figure lease. I laid on the floor and shook, cried, did not want to do anything. They basically grabbed my hand and signed the paper for me because they believed in me more than I believed in myself. You have to understand the importance of community when you are afraid. Lean on the people that are around you. There's another example. There's a mailman who has a mail route. My grandpa was a mailman. He's on a mail route and there's a dog chained to the porch, 120-pound bulldog like my parents' dog, barking his head off. Terrifying. It's either he loses his job and he can't feed his family or he has to face his fear of that bulldog. He keeps missing the route day after day after day. His manager says, listen, you're going to get fired if you don't go to that house. He says, screw it. All right, I'm going to face my fears. He gets closer and closer and closer to the bulldog. It's getting louder and louder. The chain's breaking. It's starting to make noises. When he gets close enough to that bulldog, he realizes the bulldog has no teeth. What we realize is that we have to get close enough to fear to see the teeth and see the drool. Live in it. Get close enough to taste it and to smell it. Because the bulldog's teeth were created from the man's past traumatic events. They were not real. Humans have 6 inherent needs. The first 4 are for the ego, the last 2 are for the soul. Humans need certainty. Humans need to feel safe. But on the duality of it, humans need uncertainty and variability. Why do we feel good after we skydive? Why do we feel good after we face our fears? Why am I going to feel electric and eat a big steak after this talk? Because I need variability in my life or I'm going to headbutt someone. I need that in my life. I need to chase every single day like an adrenaline junkie, and I'm real with myself. I need that, and that's okay. People need significance is the third one. Significance is my family watching me. They feel significant in my life. There's also a duality to everything in the deck. The negative part of significance is you could feel significant after committing a violent act or a violent crime. Significance isn't only positive. 4, the connection of love. Community. Centenarians are people that live to be 100. There are blue zones, which is the highest concentration of centenarians. A massive stat, the number one rule of centenarians that live to be over 100 in a community is the connection of love. A happy hour, a get-together, a family dinner. The last two are where my routine comes into play. Humans need growth. Humans need to grow to feel significant. If you are not growing, you are shrinking. You cannot stay stagnant. That is not how the world works. The last one and the most important one, and one that I have dedicated my entire life to contribute beyond ourselves. This is why I started helping others. I live my life, and I have everyone in my life reminding me, you give a lot, make sure you're taking. When you don't understand, and I'm looking at some of you, that I get fooled by helping others. I live my life to help you, and that's okay, but humans need to contribute beyond themselves, because I truly believe in feeding the soul and starving the ego. This speech at 21 is what I needed. 10 years ago, suicidal actions, suicidal thoughts, no identity. I needed to hear the power of you. Extreme ownership. In closing, I leave you with the words of William Ernest Henley's Invictus, a poem that encapsulates the resilience and determination that we in this room all possess. Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of shade, and yet the menace of the years finds me and still should find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll, I am the master of my fate, and I am the captain of my soul. I just lived my dreams in front of you. From an empty apartment in Terre Haute, I watched a TED Talk. And I promised myself and manifested myself that I would be on that stage because I wanted to impact a person like that TED Talk stopped me from doing something that I would not be able to be in front of you with. 10 years of fear. 10 years of consistency and routine. Unwaveringly, I've lost friends because of my routine. I've lost businesses because of my routine. I've lost hope because of my routine, but I stayed true. Take my story and don't compare yourself to it, but let it motivate you, because if I can, so can you. My last closing saying, many dreams die while suffering. Do not let your fear strive you or stop you from reaching your dreams. Thank you so much.